Hey y'all, I bet it's a little weird seeing me back on this channel. I'm telling you, it's a bit strange for me too. I can't even really remember the last time I uploaded a real video. A real video. But that being said, I thought I would turn over a new leaf and dedicate my attention to YouTube poops. Fabulous, I hear you say. What the hell is a YouTube poop? Well, I'll tell ya. According to Wikipedia, a YouTube poop is a type of video mashup or edit created by remixing/editing pre-existing media sources, often carrying subcultural significance, into a new video for humorous, vulgar, satirical, obscene, absurd, profane, annoying, confusing, or dramatic purposes. Fascinating. Why is it called poop? I don't know, but I've never said the word poop more times in my life, so great content. Anyway, I wanted to set off on doing something that I've been itching to do for a long time, and that's sort of hand-pick YouTube poops from across the web and judge them. Yeah, so I'm ranking 26 different YouTube poops from worst to best in the spirit of people like Schaffrillas Productions, who do the same for animated and live-action movies. Now, admittedly, starting out this list, it was hard to even pick what YouTube poops to use and what to boot. So, with a carefully crafted rubric and a set of rules, I selected 26 different YouTube poops from various creators across the web. Now, as a ground rule, I'm going off of popularity here, so YouTube poops must either come from the highest view counts or the most popular creators. Simple enough, right? Well, I have another rule, and this one's kind of important. I'm okay with some edgy humor or humor that kind of pushes the bounds of what is acceptable, but if any of the YouTube poop videos include overtly bigoted or perverted jokes, I'm disqualifying them. You'd be surprised by how many YouTube poops I had to actually eject from the list. Let's just say people come up with some pretty twisted shit sometimes. I was also sure to pick between 1 and 3 videos from each creator. So yeah, sort of a loose way of sorting YouTube poops, but I had really no other solution. So if your favorite YouTube poop didn't make the list, I do apologize about that, but be sure to send it to me through the comments section. I'm really interested to know what kind of YouTube poops you guys like. Now, because there are 26 different YouTube poops from so many different creators, I decided to just go ahead and make a tier list for all of them. This list ranges from F to S+. So I mean, if you want to spoil the whole video, yeah, go ahead, look at the tier list. But otherwise, I'm going to start with the F and D tiers. Oh boy, am I not excited to talk about these. These are pretty much the bottom of the barrel YouTube poops. Now, YouTube poops are absurd and random by nature, but these are honestly just insufferable. Without any more chit chat, let's start the list at number 26.
Disappointment in the game of life.
You know, it's times like this you ask yourself, how the hell is this the third most viewed YTP of all time? This is a lazily done YouTube poop, especially for someone as big as number 1. Some of the jokes made me chuckle here or there, but most of the actual pooping comes from reverse editing, face swapping, and freeze frames. In fact, a lot of the humor is bordering on dumb sex jokes or worse, which feels like a cheap shot when real jokes could have done so much more justice. Some of the most fun I had with this YTP was rewatching actual scenes from Frozen, which kind of tells you about the quality of the whole thing. This is definitely one of the worst YouTube poops I've watched in a long time, and that's kind of disappointing. You'd think that with a name like YouTube poop, most of them would be pretty poor quality, but watching this list, I've seen some bangers, especially ones I've never seen before that really just pack the heat with great editing, amazing humor, etc., etc. This one doesn't have any of that. I just think it's so poorly done. I just think there wasn't much effort put into it. It maybe has a few funny moments, but like, I just don't like this one. Definitely at the bottom of the list for me. Definitely at the bottom of the list. Sorry people who like this one. Apparently it's popular. It's the third most popular one of all. I don't see it. I don't like it. Moving on.
Well, Seymour, you are an odd fellow, but I must say...
Thank you so much for playing my game.
You know, I've been on YouTube for a long time, and I can say with certainty that I am a big fan of steamed hams videos. People seem to have infinite amounts of creativity editing this stinky little Simpsons short, and I love it. That being said, I didn't get this video at all. It's not like Steamed Hams but with Mario Head is a bad YTP by any means. In fact, I'm sure it's pretty solid, but like, I guess I'm not very keen on the Mario Head tropes in terms of YouTube poops at large. I'm probably the uncultured one because even some of my favorite poopers like using this Mario Head in their videos. I mean, after watching it, I guess it's wholesome and kind of funny, but really not up my alley. I don't know what the deal is with the eels. I don't know what Mario Head is talking about half the time. So I say again, the only reason this one is as far down as it is because I don't know crap about Mario Head YTPs. Moving on.
Disappointment in the game of life.
You know, going into this ranking video, I obviously had to see a lot of videos that I had never seen before. Some were good, of course, but some were, oh, so bad. Here I am, a fan of both modern and legacy YouTube poops, and I had no idea this large following of Peppa Pig edits lived under the YouTube poop umbrella. And as much as I hate to say it, this is the one. Peppa Pig Plays Minecraft is the single most viewed YouTube poop of all time at 148 million views. And I mean, it's alright. It's not the worst YouTube poop on this list, but it is definitely not the best. There's some good old-fashioned Minecraft nostalgia to be had here, but it's really just a lightly edited Peppa Pig episode. It's caught in this weird limbo because, like, on one hand, it feels like it should be enjoyed by children, but it's definitely not made for children.
But I don't know where the disc is.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Kind of like a Has-Been Hotel situation. Pretty immature, but I guess I see the appeal. It's not really my cup of tea, and I'm kind of glad that I don't have to watch any more Peppa Pig episodes after this one. Oh wait!
Disappointment in the game of life.
I edited an episode of Peppa Pig because I was doing it before it was cool. This is probably one of the longest titles on this list. I can give it that. You know, one thing I can say about this one, I do think it's a good deal funnier than the last Peppa Pig video we just talked about, but it's still just baby humor. This is just baby humor. How is this not targeted towards children? The fact of the matter is, I bet most of these views come from children, and yet I don't think children should be watching this stuff. I mean, this is probably one of the more tame YouTube poops, so I guess I'm not complaining too much. One thing I can say about this one is that, again, it's funnier than the last one. I especially like the edit when she used her laser eyes to get into the store, when it was literally just a sliding door. And also when she threw a jar at her dad. I mean, okay, that kind of stuff is funny, but like, these are bars of gold laid next to like feces, okay? If you're judging the overall value of this, it's just piss poor. I'm sorry, but I can't get behind this Peppa Pig stuff. I just can't. I'm a legacy YouTube pooper, okay? I enjoy my old stuff. I liked it how it was. As you can see, Peppa Pig YouTube poops make me a little passionate. But I guess it's better than cold because I feel like the YouTube poop cold just gave me no strong feelings at all. Watching it, I felt kinda dead inside. I didn't feel dead inside watching these ones. I felt fiery rage and passion. I guess it's pretty decent and funny in chunks, but the rest of the thing is just dog shit. And I'm sorry if you think otherwise. Now really time to not talk about that again.
Now I am become Gay Luigi, the destroyer of spaghetti.
After watching The Sky Had a Ouija by Hurricoaster, I can properly say this is the most 2009 YouTube video I've ever seen. It's chocked full of classic YTP tropes like Hotel Mario, audio from CSI Zelda, sentence mixing, etc, etc.
SpongeBob, how long you gonna stay in your little fantasy world?
This has to be the oldest video on this list, and it's good to respect the OGs, right? No. I mean, this YouTube poop is funny, I guess. I didn't find myself laughing too much at what is now 15-year-old humor. Also, Gay Luigi seems like more of a placeholder than anything else. Maybe it's just a common feature in Ouija YouTube poops. Maybe he just stands there menacingly. I don't know, I was like 4 years old when this video came out. I don't know the trends. Also, I never played Hotel Mario. Sorry people who like Hotel Mario, I've never played Hotel Mario. Obviously people in the time were kind of just making YouTube poops for the hell of it, which hasn't changed much. And I'm sure plenty of people find this video to be a classic. And honestly, yeah, it's a fine old time, it's funny enough, but it is nowhere near the top of this list. Sorry people who like this one, I do not. Alpaca Hawk is one of the classic YouTube poopers, for sure, and has secured his legacy doing Star Wars prequel and Spider-Man YouTube poops. So, of course he's a great YouTube poop artist. So, what did I think about this one? I didn't like it. I mean, it's better than everything else in the lower tier, that's for sure. It's better than Peppa Pig. But it's just not very funny, no matter how hard Alpaca Hawk tries. A lot of the edits are thrown together in a topsy-turvy way with not much smoothness or cohesion, and most of the jokes just don't hit me like the others do. I can tell that Alpaca Hawk was really trying to stick the landing with this one, but you know what? This YouTube poop is not a flying toy. You see what I did there? It's cause it's like the title. It's funny. Laugh. I feel like it suffers from the same dull fate as Cold, where like no matter how hard it tries to be funny, it just can't pull it off. I think there were one or two jokes that made me forcefully exhale air through my nose, which is basically one tier below chuckling, so good job?
It appears to be. It's a big one.
It's a what?
It's a big one. It appears to be a big one.
What is it?
Trust me, there are way better Toy Story YouTube poops, even on this list alone. So don't touch that dial, and stay tuned. Alright, so we've officially left the F and D tiers behind us. That means we can move on from talking about the overtly terrible ones and start discussing the mediocre ones. Wow. Yeah, I can't say I'm more enthusiastic about this one than the last one, but at least these YouTube poops won't be terrible. In fact, I'll have some nice things to say about them. So without further ado, let's start moving into the top 20. Alright, the lion thing. First things first, is it funny? I mean, no, not really. Listen, in terms of YouTube poop jokes, just the sheer nonsense of it all, I mean, it's a lot better than what we've had to deal with, so I can give it creds for that. I just feel like, again, we're in a stage where these YouTube poops are trying really hard to be entertaining, to be funny, and they just don't always hit the target the way they want it to. And you know what? That's okay. I'm sure someone out there enjoys this YouTube poop, and if they do, I love that for them. This is maybe one of the lowest rated ones in C tier, and I didn't do that on accident. Another thing I was considering when ranking these YouTube poops is just the sheer technical quality of it. Some of the best ones on this list were able to seamlessly edit. I mean, to integrate the characters into their world, to create effects that just felt real and raw, to make the whole thing seem a lot more dynamic or a lot more funny. The reason I take problem with the lion thing is that I just feel like it throws its edits together in a way that isn't very funny. It kind of just flashes memes at you like a slideshow, and I don't know. It got a better chuckle out of me than the Alpaca Hawk one, but that isn't saying much. All in all, not a great YouTube poop. Better than all the ones on D tier combined, which I think is kind of impressive. Still, it is not competing for the top of this list. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, yo, you know this, boy, he's got his
Delicious hot schmoes.
Look, after watching Woody loses his schmo, I almost want to take back everything I said about Alpaca Hawk's last video. Because you know what? This one is pretty dang good. I guess the thing about this guy's YouTube poops is that he prefers simplicity. There's no crazy edits, no bonkers sentence mixing. Just a nice clean editing that makes for some good funnies. For what it's worth, I actually kind of like the recurring joke about Buzz falling to his death every time he jumps. You know what? That shit is comedy. You can't take that away from me. Same with Andy screaming for his life. That ended me.
So play nice.
That being said, I still don't think Alpaca Hawk's videos, even his best ones, are as good as the best ones on this list. I think at his very worst, he makes some pretty drab YouTube poops, but at his very best, he makes some good times, and I think this one is a good time. You should check it out. It's definitely not bad.
Don't let your kids watch it!
To be honest with you, there's a shit ton of LazyTown YouTube poops on YouTube. So I'm kind of surprised this is the only one to make the list. This one's bite-sized compared to everything else, but in only 2 minutes, Paper King squeezes in a lot of really solid editing. Just as a side note, the way he auto-tune edited the song to sound like You Belong With Me was kind of funny. I also kind of liked it when he referenced just how many homophones of mine there are, even if it was a little repetitive. Like, really super repetitive. The only thing that really brings down this YouTube poop for me is that really, considering when it was made, it's kind of outdated. There's references to the Illuminati and the ASDF show, which probably would be right at home in like 2013 or 2014, not when this video was uploaded. But I guess it just goes to show that old YouTube poop traditions live on even in the later 2010s and early 2020s. And you know what? If y'all think that is funny, keep watching YouTube poops like this. I'm sure they won't disappoint. Listen, if there's anything you need to know about me and my opinion of YouTube poops, it's that I'm a really big fan of the YouTuber Hoffy1138. I think he's such a massive nerd and I love it. I love all the videos he makes. I just think he makes some really solid YouTube poops. That being said, this particular one really seems like a product of its time, what with certain music choices and edits, but you know what? I kinda liked it. I'm really a sucker for loud equals funny, so it's no surprise that I laughed out loud at some bits in this one. I'm also down for a good Bud Light beer joke in a Toy Story YouTube poop, so thanks for that, Hoffy. I guess my only complaint is that the explosion jokes got old after a hot second. Like, really pretty old. But that's pretty much my only complaint. I think the most impressive part of this video, despite being the most simple, was the fight sequence and the use of health bars. Turns out Hoffy is really good at doing action scenes, like super good. If anything, this YouTube poop, despite being his most popular video, would go on to show how much progress he would make in the future. More on that one later. Okay, not too much ceremony here, but we're moving from the C tiers to the B tiers, which means I get to transition from talking about the pretty okay ones to the pretty okay ones, if you know what I mean. Basically, we're going from mediocre to good. I'm a lot more excited about this, because now I don't have to whine and complain about all the YouTube poops I watch. Anyway, without blabbering too much, let's get into the B tiers.
Yo! Yo, holy shit, he dead!
Hey. For all you number one fans out there, you may think that after my rather harsh critique of his YouTube poop Cold, that I just hate the guy's YouTube poops, right? Well, this is gonna surprise some of you, but no. Listen, compared to Cold, this one is like miraculous. There's a very good reason I used it to kickstart the B tier list. I honestly just think it's a pretty solid YouTube poop all the way through. It has some really clever jokes that just made me laugh out loud, which is like 10 steps up from the last one, okay? I especially like the bit at the beginning with Flynn Rider dying because I just think it dragged on for way too long, but in the most hilarious way possible. There's ways to do repetitive stuff in a funny way, okay? YouTube poopers, take notes.
This is the story of how I died.
Once upon a time,
I died. Rapunzel. She died. I'll give you a hint. She died.
I also just wanted to point out how glorious the Mother Gothel song is. That's just some really good stuff, man. You know what? I like this one. I actually like quite a few YouTube poops from number one. I had no choice but to rank Cold at the last place spot because honestly, as someone who likes his stuff, it really disappointed me. But I'm glad that he's able to prove that he is in fact a really good YouTube pooper with this one. Again, a great one, glad it's in this B tier. Moving on.
What can I say except
Delete this.
You know what? If someone asked me what a YouTube poop was and like I had to show them an example, I really think I would show them this video. It has pretty much all the best tropes. Perfect sentence mixing on Jimmy's part.
Hey, you know who stole your mom's coke and just got high? This guy. Yeah.
Audio editing, loud equals funny, you get the idea. Funny enough, this video is actually part of a bigger collab by fellow pooper Yoshi Maniac, but somehow this collab entry is more popular than the video it's part of, which I think is kind of hysterical. I mean, imagine getting outshined by someone that's like part of your project. Ooh, ouch. Yeah, I had a good laugh with this one. Again, I think it's kind of the perfect YouTube poop, just example-wise. It fits the dictionary definition. Do I think it's the best one on this list? No, silly, that's why it's ranked so low. It's a bite-sized thing after all, and it's meant to be part of something bigger, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and I think you will too. Although, I can't escape the Mario head no matter how hard I try.
What is going on here? Breakfast!
We've covered a lot of YouTube poopers on this list, some that date back to like 2009 and 2013. So the YouTube pooper Schaffrillas is kind of new on the scene. He's a fresh face, he makes some fresh YouTube poops, I think they're funny. His comedic timing is especially on point for a YouTube pooper. And if there's anything I can say about Carbs, it's that it's just straight up funny.
Oh yeah. Maybe I should have had breakfast.
I was actually shown this YouTube poop a year ago by some friends, and it took us out. So I kind of have a personal memory associated with it. Sorry, I know I'm supposed to be ranking objectively, but sometimes I just gotta put my opinion in there somewhere. Grrr, fight me. I think my favorite sequence in the whole video is where McQueen's daydream turns into Anton Ego's past, turns into Anton Ego, turns into Shrek's nightmare, turns into McQueen waking up, turns into McQueen again. It's McQueenception. That's prime YouTube poop nonsense, and I'm here for it. This one's just silly, but I think it's a great time. While Schaffrillas doesn't really do any crazy sentence mixing or any of that fancy YouTube poop stuff, he still knows how to jumble a sentence into oblivion, and honestly, I think it's hilarious. Another solid one from Schaffrillas. Check out his stuff. I think it's pretty good.
Yes, yes, yes! Lightning McQueen here! Ka-chow! Me! Wow! Nothing sues a rusty bumper like me! Look at that shine! Use Lightning McQueen and you too can look like the rear end like me!
Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that it's possible for a clean YouTube poop to actually be good? Let me introduce you to Christoph YTP. This guy is amazing. I'm a super big fan of his. His stuff is just top notch. I don't know how he does it. And how do I even put this? The Lingo Kingo obviously borrows some jokes from previous Lion King YouTube poops, including the lion thing, but somehow it is still 5 times better.
Did you know that?
When we die, our bodies die.
Now you know!
When we die, our bodies become
Very good.
What?
Let me explain. Our bodies die when we die, and the antelope eat our bodies when we die, and so we are all
Very good.
Seriously, Christoph is like a triple threat, okay? Not only is he good at editing YouTube poops, he can also make music, he can animate, and he throws all of that stuff together into his YouTube poops in this like delicious YouTube poop soup. It sounds disgusting when I put it like that, but honestly, I just check out his videos, man, okay? Just check them out. I just think in terms of Lion King YouTube poops, this one is probably the best one on the list. And even then, it's one of his lesser YouTube poops. This one doesn't really pack a punch like some of his other ones do, and yet it's funnier than everything else we've talked about so far. I don't even know how that's possible. Christoph is just a wonderful addition to the YouTube poop list, and I'm so glad to be talking about his videos here. I mean, where else was I gonna talk about him? Anyway, check this one out, it's so good. Despacito 2. Yeah, this one will really age you if you're my age, because like, I remember this being popular in middle school, and now I'm a high school graduate. Wow, how the time flies. You know, I'm a little disappointed to say that this one wasn't as funny as it was when I first watched it. That isn't to say that it doesn't have solid jokes, because it kinda does. But like, again, it's really dated. I know it's not as old as some of the ones on this list, but yet it feels ancient. I don't even know how that's possible. That being said, this one's a really short one, it's a YouTube poop music video, and those are always kind of entertaining. You can't deny the solid editing of this one. Honestly, compared to everything else we've talked about, this one probably has the best editing. Just really snappy, real fun, real funny. I got a good laugh out of it. You should check it out. That's all I have to say about this one. Honestly, I don't have much notes on this one. Go ahead and look it up.
And guess what? Here's what my dong looks like!
Okay, I'm gonna say it. Wilfred Brimley's Giant Dong Sing-Along is an all-timer. This is honestly one of the most funny and quotable videos on the list, and it shocked me. I expected this one of all the YouTube poops to be lower on the list, but I don't know, this shit is kinda comedy gold. Super immature, yeah, and inappropriate to a T, but I mean, who can deny the greatness of lines like this one?
And my car's in the water.
Someone help me!
And it's gonna be okay. I think.
This is maybe the most peak YouTube poop Not at the top of the list, but like definitely the top of B tier. It's just great. On a technical level, the sentence mixing is tight. I really think the editing is fun and entertaining. Again, another YouTube poop music video. You're gonna start seeing more of those near the top of the list, and for good reason. They're super well edited. Check this one out. It's pretty short, but I liked it a lot. There's a reason it's at the top of this tier, that's for sure. Alright gang, we're moving from the B tiers to the A tiers. Wowza, some good YouTube poops! Yeah, so as you guessed, we're moving from the good YouTube poops to the pretty damn great YouTube poops. And I'm freaking stoked. Even more fitting that we're going into the top 10, which means we're leaving all that other stuff behind us. Anyway, let's start talking about them.
Shawty's like a melody in my head.
And here we see a legendary YouTube pooper in the making.
I love the hell out of Mobro Studios and his style of making YouTube poops. I think he's gone down in YouTube poop history with his Chronicles of Poop series, which as of right now really only consists of 2 YouTube poops and 1 prequel, but we're actually covering both entries in the Chronicles of Poop. And the fact that both of them are in the top 10 kind of lets you know about the quality of Mobro Studios. Maybe this is just nostalgia speaking, but I first started watching Mobro stuff around the time it was made. Honestly, I was in like daycare when I watched some of this stuff. I don't think I should have been watching it, but hey, I guess it just means that I've always had a good taste in YouTube poop humor. And let me just say, it's not just the nostalgia that dictates how I rate these things. As I've already mentioned, there's a certain technical aspect that goes into editing YouTube poops. And if there's anything that Mobros is especially renowned for, it's his sentence mixing.
Is this your doll, young lady?
Yeah?
We found it on the floor over there.
Oh, sorry.
Someone could have tripped over it.
That's right. You could have killed me.
Me too!
You could have killed me.
Millions! Me too! Millions!
Me too!
Extreme close-up!
Anyone who's edited a YouTube poop, and I mean like a proper YouTube poop, knows that before AI voices, we had to actually mishmash characters' speech patterns to make them say things that they wouldn't normally say. It was a long and complicated process, and I can't even imagine how long Mobro spends editing this stuff sometimes. Not to mention, this YouTube poop is Phineas and Ferb centered. I mean, you'd be pretty hard pressed to find anyone who hates this show, okay? I didn't have to think very hard about what the best part of this video is. Something here, and something you'd find in a lot of Mobro's videos, is just his fight scenes. The way he edits this stuff. Now, plenty of YouTube poops get away with crossovers, I mean like integrating characters into the world of other characters, but Mobros does it in such a believable way. I mean, you have all the Team Fortress 2 characters fighting this like monstrous version of Candace, and honestly, it's hype. Like if Mobros decided to make a full feature-length YouTube poop movie, I would pay money to see it. But I will say that while this one does technically have a story involving, you know, memes fighting the world of YouTube poops and Candace becoming this like meme mutation thing, it still doesn't hold a candle to the other cool crossover stories that Mobros has made. But worry not, we're gonna talk about that later because I think it would be a crime not to. If anything, I would say this YouTube poop is just a clear indication of what Mobros was going to become. In his channel description, Mobros says that he is a quote, YouTube pooper who enjoys making YTPs of the cinematic variety. And if anything, I would say he has absolutely lived up to this hype. I'd say definitely give this one a try. Its first half is just silly YouTube poop nonsense, but it eventually transforms into the cinematic variety of YouTube poops that we've come to expect from Mobro Studios.
Keep my dehydration gun out your
Guys, you're not going to believe this. Schaffrillas Productions just did the impossible. He made Shark Tale, the movie Shark Tale, good. Now, if any of you know who Schaffrillas Productions is, you probably know him from all the movie reviews he makes, especially on animated films. I'm actually a pretty big fan, obviously. This entire video is a parody of a Schaffrillas video, but one thing that's worth noting about Schaffrillas is that before he got famous reviewing movies, he was actually also a YouTube poop maker. Yeah, that's right, he made his own YouTube poops. And yeah, they're actually good. I think one of the biggest complaints about the movie Shark Tale is how Oscar is kind of a villain. I mean, mean, this guy gets rich and famous on a lie and doesn't even get in trouble for it. What are animated movies teaching kids these days? Schaffrillas actually made a whole review on Shark Tale, and he talks extensively about how frustrating this is. But don't worry, if you wanted to see Oscar as a villain, just watch Sharp Talk. This is such a goofy YouTube poop, but as it goes on, you start to realize that Schaffrillas is actually making a full-on movie here, one that is better in almost every way than the original. Plus, this is maybe the only YouTube poop musical I think I've ever seen. I mean, he made Angie sing Good For You from Evan Hansen to Oscar. Good for you! And it's actually thematically relevant. Aside from that, it's kind of just wholesome to see how much Schaffrillas poured his identity into this YouTube poop. Like I said, he's a movie review channel, so his love of films just comes out. So many references to animated or just live action movies, and it all comes together in a really funny, clever way. This YouTube poop is just 110% Schaffrillas, and I love it. Maybe not as well edited as some things on this list, but it has a really cool story, and again, it's kind of goofy. I really, really like it. It's epic. Take a look.
Does Bruno Mars is gay?
Here's an interesting fact about We Talked About Bruno. It is the 6th most viewed YTP of all time, and unlike everything else on that stupid list, like Peppa Pig and Cold, it actually deserves its views. Wow, isn't that a shocker? There's something about YouTube poop music videos being super viewed in general that just makes perfect sense in my mind. They're funny, musical, and just super well edited. This one in particular had some of the best sentence mixing and rhythm I've heard in a YouTube poop in a good long while. It's fun, it's meta, it's clever, it's just yes. And you know, after watching a lot of really shitty YouTube poops, this one was just a breath of fresh air for me. It's fairly simple in concept and execution, and maybe shouldn't have been ranked as high as it was, but I don't care. I loved it. I don't know, maybe YouTube poop music videos just do it in general for me, but I had a good laugh with this one. Definitely one of the most well executed YouTube poops on this list. Be sure to give it a watch and or listen. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you for just like 5 seconds. There's nothing about the Incredibles that makes it any more special or high quality than anything we've talked about up until this point. But there's just so much goddamn charm in this one, and it's so funny. This one is actually like side-burstingly hilarious.
Bon voyage.
Freddie Benson!
I mean, I think consuming all these YouTube poops has made me a little apathetic towards the genre. I will admit, I've had to sort of curb my funny bone a little bit when reviewing these. I've had to look at YouTube poops from a very objective lens and observe them on their technical levels and how well edited they are. But I'm now at a point with like the Incredibles where I can say, you know what, we can just have fun with this YouTube poop. And that isn't to say that it's lazily edited. The case can be made here that it's actually very high quality. In fact, I think it's one of Yoshi Maniac's best, if not his best, YouTube poop. And I mean, like, every single joke in this thing lands. So many of the YouTube poops before this one just dipped in and out of quality for me. Sometimes they were just the highest quality, sometimes they were the very lowest. All in the same video. Not this one. It's funny from beginning to end and just has that endless YouTube poop charm that you can expect from Yoshi Maniac. And that's all I gotta say. It's just plain funny. Check it out.
Wretch, we're wretch, we're the wretch.
This is it. This is the creme de la creme of Quistoff YTP. Probably his greatest YouTube poop to date, and one of my all-time favorites. I've already discussed Quistoff, but everything I've said about him being a triple threat comes full circle here. There is just so much solid editing, so much great sentence mixing, so many funny jokes, instances of animation, of his own music. What is this? This is like miraculous. A YouTube poop shouldn't even be this high quality, and yet Quistoff comes along and challenges the norm. He says YouTube poops don't just have to be these sloppily made shitposts, that they can actually be real pieces of content. And I just love it. I love it. I don't like YouTube poops. I love them. If I don't love them, I don't watch them. Something I love about Quistoff's content in general is that amongst his viewer base, he has so many like inside jokes from his video. In this one alone, he creates this entirely new version of Anton Ego that's like addicted to egg rolls. Name something funnier than that. It's not like this YTP has any like serious narrative or story structure, but it definitely has recurring themes and a central idea, and it just feels very cohesive. unlike some of them. I mean, the basic idea is that Linguini has to serve this guy Anton Ego egg rolls without offending him. Simple enough, right? And yet it's just so hilarious. I think to get the full Quistoff experience, you should just watch his videos, which I highly recommend you do. But before I go, I have to mention the best part of this video by far. The most peak section of this whole YouTube poop is the song. Uno Uno Ratatata will be in my head for the rest of time. And I'm going to play you the whole song. I leave by saying that this is honestly one of the best YouTube poops ever made, and if you haven't watched it already, I don't know what you're doing.
Rat-a-tata, uno, rat-a-tata, uno, uno, rat-a-tata, uno, uno, rat-a-tata, uno, 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 rat-a-tata, uno, uno, rat-a-tata, uno, uno.
Okay, this is it. We're finally moving into the top 5 territory. So here's how we're gonna do this. We're obviously transitioning from the A tier to the S tier, but only 5 through 2 is gonna be S tier. We're saving the best for last, so number 1 is gonna be S+. Better buckle up. We're basically talking about some of the best YouTube poops ever made. So without further ado, let's get into them.
I ate a bowl of nails for breakfast every morning to help me get beautiful.
And to kick off the top 5 list, I thought I'd talk about one of the 2 collab videos that is on this list. The funny thing about this YouTube poop is that it's actually the second longest on this list at 20 minutes and 21 seconds. And what a legend this YouTube poop. I think the magic you'll find in the Shinying is just the pure concentrated levels of poop. In a good way, of course. When we're talking about this list, that's a good thing. Schaffrillas Productions obviously spearheaded the making of this thing, and it's not the only collab he did over Shiny. Gee, I really think he likes Tamatoa, I don't know. But he actually managed to get 40 plus YouTube poopers on the project with him. Here, credits flying by, whoop whoop, there they are. And yeah, the result is a giant chaotic mess of a YTP, and it's beautiful. I feel like every single person who worked on this monster project brought something new to the table. It was hilarious in a gut-bursting way and had everything you could want out of a good YouTube poop. Loud equals funny, face swapping, meta references and songs, sentence mixing, etc. All of it coming from different YouTube poopers with their own sense and style of humor. It's just a fine example of what the YouTube poop community can do when it comes together. And honestly, that's why the 2 collab videos are as high up on the list as they are. It's just such a diverse look at how different every single YouTube pooper is, and yet how well it works when they're all meshed together. I'd say definitely watch this one. It's long, but I just love it so much. There is definitely a reason it's number 5. Thanks for giving us this one, Schaffrillas.
Mickey Mouse.
Yep, that's right. 2 YouTube poop collabs in a row, and the next one we're talking about is Yoshi Maniac's absolutely brilliant Mickey's Clubhouse Catastrophe. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm a bit of a sucker for the collabs and just how they show off the breadth of YouTube poopers and what they're able to do. In the case of Clubhouse Catastrophe, I wouldn't say it's as big or ambitious as The Shining by Schaffrillas. It doesn't even have as many collaborators, but even then, even with all of those things considered, it is just a little bit funnier. And weirdly enough, Schaffrillas himself has actually more parts in this one than he does in his own collab video. I still think it's kind of awesome how Yoshi Maniac actually got so many big YouTubers, including Schaff, on this one. I mean, the guy did a bona fide poopified version of the Steven Universe theme.
We are the crystal gems, we'll always save the day. And if you think we can't, you're probably right. That's why the people of this world believe in.
Weirdly enough, I seem to remember seeing this around the time it came out. So yeah, of course, I have a certain personal association with this one. But even then, even watching it years and years later, it really hasn't lost its luster. This thing is still as hilarious as it was on the first day I watched it. I think if there's anything you need to know, I'm not just looking for quality of edits, but also just quantity of edits. The way I see it, the more concentrated a YouTube poop is with edits, that means the more effort the editors actually put into it. Some of the lower rated ones just had a little bit of edits sprinkled here and there, didn't really change the movie or piece of media I was editing that much at all. This one tears a Mickey Mouse Clubhouse episode to shreds, and it's just so good. I can't get over how good this YouTube poop is, guys. Come on. And yes, again, of the two collabs, I think this one is only marginally better, but that's enough to put it here at number 4. What a brilliant YouTube poop collab. Definitely give it a watch. I love the hell out of this one.
COVID-19!
COVID-19!
Alright, this is it. I'm kicking off the number 3 with Buzz Catches COVID-19. This one is pretty good, which is of course a massive understatement because this thing is a masterpiece. Yeah, don't let the name deceive you. This one is actually really good. Now, something that's interesting is of the top 3, this is the only one I hadn't seen until this point. I did know of Hour of Poop. I do know these guys as YouTube Poop Productions. I just hadn't seen this one. And if I'm gonna be honest with you, I could have put any of Hour of Poop's videos, and I mean any of them, in this top 3 spot. Like Mobros Studios, these guys pretty much have an emphasis on making cinematic YouTube poops, so it's really no surprise that this one is as high up as it is. And yeah, this one actually has a story. It's kind of a goofy story, but I mean, it has everything you could need: a proper narrative, climax, resolution, etc. The beauty of a good YouTube poop is nonsense after all. The entire plot basically hinges on Buzz and gang getting toilet paper for Woody. Yeah, that's the plot. And when Buzz hoards it instead, Woody retaliates by giving Buzz the cheese touch. I'm sorry, I mean the COVID touch. Yeah. Woody basically accuses Buzz of having COVID-19 and like it isolates him from everyone. But as ludicrous and ridiculous as that sounds, these shots of him like wandering the empty streets and like looking out at the cityscape and the stars, like why does this make me feel things, man? Why am I like here with him in this situation? This is so silly. But the ending is just perfect. The fact that Buzz is now isolated but finally finds people just like him to hang out with and to feel like he's part of a group. I mean, I think of all the endings you could have chosen for a silly YouTube poop like this, that one was surprisingly pretty. But yeah, this is definitely an early 2020s YouTube poop if ever I've seen one. Even then, it was really cool to see that it was made specifically for the sake of giving people a laugh during those tense times, which I think is super important. Also, Buzz got to fight James Cagney in a fully 3D environment, which was kind of epic. And yeah, I can't go without talking about this. Hour of Poop goes above and beyond with their editing, okay? They don't just integrate characters into pre-existing spaces, they create the spaces. They make environments for the characters to be in and to fight in and to talk in. Who does that? That is such a high level of effort for something like this. So not only does this thing have a story, it has fully fleshed out editing to the max. I mean, this thing is phenomenal. Honestly, one of the best YouTube poops I've ever seen, and I'm a little sad I waited so long to talk about this one. The funny thing is, this isn't even my favorite YouTube poop of Hour of Poop, and yet I still think it's a masterpiece. I'm actually really sad my personal favorite didn't make it to this list, but you know what? That one is so good, I might make an entirely separate video on it. Stay tuned. Alright, we only got 2 more, so let's talk about them real quick. Nice. Guys, would you believe me if I said that I was absolutely stoked to be talking about this next one? This is number 2 for a damn good reason, okay? I could have put anything at the silver medal spot, but of course, I went with this one. We've talked already about Hoffy1138, and I said I'd get to one of his YouTube poops later. I was, of course, talking about the absolutely masterful Michael Rosen vs. Sonic.exe. I'm being completely serious. Not only is this one of my favorite YouTube poops ever made, this is quite possibly one of my favorite YouTube videos ever made. I honestly think if we could keep a lot of classic YouTube videos in a vault, you know, me at the zoo, dramatic chipmunk, keyboard cat, I would fight for this one to be in that vault. It is a modern YouTube poop classic. You wouldn't think a dinky little video about a meme man fighting a creepypasta would be as awesome as it is, but this thing is just off the walls crazy. First of all, this one does in fact have a story. It's mostly centered around Michael Rosen getting a CD copy of Sonic.exe, his friend Hans asking him to destroy the disc before it's too late, and Michael pretty much laughs in his face, puts the disc in, and faces the horrific consequences. Any of you who like Sonic.exe or are like well versed in creepypastas will probably get a good laugh out of this one. It really just defies the tropes of your average creepypasta video. Because here, instead of having Michael get terrorized the whole time, he actually fights back. Twice. And let me tell you, the second time he fights back against Sonic.exe, it is actually triumphant. It is an anime fight with Michael coming out on top, and it's just some editing that I have never seen before in a YouTube poop or otherwise. This video stunned me when I first watched it, and I'm still stunned today watching it again and again. And yes, from a technical standpoint, it has nearly flawless sentence mixing. The way Michael is integrated is just brilliant and unique. Oh, and yeah, by the way, Hoffy makes a lot of jokes about how Michael is literally just a torso, head, and arms, because that's how much is recorded, and if you have to put him through a green screen, you can't give him legs, obviously. But somehow it works, because Hoffy is still able to make him fly and fight and use powers, with a lot of classic Michael Rosen jokes too, like plums, frying pan, etc, etc. I love this. This is such a great way to combine unique YouTube poop humor with action scenes and a story. It's just one of the greatest YouTube poops ever made. Full stop. Period. And honestly, it would be the best YouTube poop on this list if it weren't for just one more. Where do I even begin on this one? What can I say that hasn't already been said about the masterpiece that is Skellington's Revenge? Oh my sweet Christ. There is no YouTube poop on this list that was even going to come close. No YouTube poop ever made that will even cross this level of quality. This isn't a YouTube poop. This is an experience. This is one of the greatest videos ever made by anyone. You have to understand this. And I think a lot of its appeal is the fact that only one person made this. The man behind Mobro Studios, of course. And talk about a classic. This video was made all the way back in December of 2013 and still holds up today as the greatest YouTube poop ever made by many people's accounts. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me how only one person with his editing software and his sense of humor can bring this thing to life. It's a story that just makes sense in my mind. A story about a Jack Skellington who's so tired of his holiday being cancelled that he'll go through any measure he can to take over Christmas. Anything, even at the risk of his own friends, of his own safety. Wow, I mean, who makes that level of storytelling in a YouTube poop? Honestly, there are so many things to talk about, so I'll break it up into chunks. The first thing I'd like to discuss is the crossover quality. Someone joked that this was like 2013's Infinity War, and I couldn't agree more. First of all, when I first saw this video back in around, I don't know, 2014 or 2015, I already had a very personal association with it. I was an absolutely humongous fan of SpongeBob. The Nightmare Before Christmas was and still is one of my favorite Tim Burton films. And seeing them together in a way that actually made sense was just like game-changing to me as a kid. Honestly, I think this was my first exposure to crossovers. I don't think I really understood the full extent of a crossover, except maybe from like Cartoon Network, until I watched this YouTube poop. And even today there are things I can appreciate that I didn't really understand when I was a kid, like Team Fortress 2 being there, for example. Which, by the way, their role in this is actually really badass. And Mobro's last video in the Chronicles of Poop, Candace Opens an Interdimensional Portal, has the Team Fortress 2 guys fighting Candace. And yes, here we have the Team Fortress 2 guys fighting the main threat. Which brings me to my next point, the antagonists. As I've discussed already, Jack Skellington actually serves as the main antagonist of this thing. But really at the end of the day, he isn't the biggest villain here. In fact, he redeems himself by the end, which I think was a very good idea. But no, the biggest villain here is someone else. That would, of course, be one of the most unique villains I've seen in any piece of media, but especially in YouTube poops. This is the Black Hiver, a terrifying beast of eldritch Krampus proportions, who uses holiday elements like Yuletide logs and zombified gingerbread men to kill his enemies. What does he do once he kills them? Simple. He traps their souls in his furnace and reanimates their bodies as his slaves. slaves. Cheery. Yeah, no, seriously, this guy is terrifying. And I think the worst/best part about him is the fact that he was aspiring against Jack Skellington the entire time. Now, normally twist villains are kind of cringe, but this actually made a lot of sense to me. This is chaotic evil in its true form. This is a beast who doesn't care who or what he hurts. He will manipulate and use people until he takes over every holiday. That is just scary. By the way, the Hiver is just a really unique vision from Mobro Studios. I don't know what inspired him to make him this weird Bugs Bunny amalgamation thing, but his design is just really satisfying and custom made, by the way. Which brings me, of course, to my third point, the technical editing. Holy shit, this is on another planet in terms of editing. Like Hour of Poop, Mobros really likes to create these environments for characters to be in. And considering when this was made, and the fact that it was only made by one person, I don't even know what to say. The nightmare holiday dimension that the Black Hiver lives in, what with the gingerbread houses, and the tree, and the ice zone. You gotta remember, Mobros made all of this. This is his production design. I mean, what? This is a YouTube poop with a production design, with a setting, with characters. At this point, it's just basically a movie. It's a movie. Which brings me, of course, to my final point, the characters. Now, the first half of this YouTube poop is really just YTP nonsense, which is kind of Mobro Studios' signature. He'll start off his YouTube poop with just normal pooping nonsense, but then he will move into just cinematic territory. All of this takes place in the world of YouTube poops, and specifically Mobro Studios YouTube poops. So originally we just have a lot of SpongeBob characters interacting and getting ready for Christmas. Eventually they're joined by characters from My Little Pony, Team Fortress 2, Ed, Edd and Eddy, and so on. And here's the thing, YouTube poops aren't strangers to crossovers, but Mobros does it in such a believable way. Like I've mentioned before, the characters here actually interact with each other in a way that makes sense from a narrative standpoint. That brings me, of course, to one of my low-key favorite moments in this entire thing. This is, of course, where Ed is freaking out. At this point, you know, all of their friends are either dead or captured or inside the Hiver, and it seems like all hope is lost. Heavy stops him, and he says this.
I'm not in my happy place! Put up fist, little man!
Holy crap, shit just got real. When you hear a line like that, you realize, oh my gosh, this is serious. This is a serious YouTube poop. How many YouTube poops are you gonna say that for, really? Almost none of them. But this is something that deserves to be treated seriously. It is a YouTube poop that just has so much heart and effort put into it that I don't think anything else could have taken the only special honor of S+. So I wanted to say one more time from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Mobro Studios, for bringing us the masterpiece that is Skellington's Revenge, a story of a man so stricken by grief that he would tear apart the world of YouTube poops to fulfill his fantasy. That is just beyond this planet. If you haven't seen this YouTube poop, it is the longest on this list, by the way, at around 21 minutes, but it is worth a watch because it's basically a movie. I myself have made it a tradition to just watch it around Christmas time, so obviously when I upload this video it's not very timely, but that doesn't even matter. The pure quality of this thing from an editing and storytelling position obviously gives it the gold medal. So I say again, please give it a watch. It is my favorite YouTube poop on this list, and perhaps the greatest ever made. As a hilarious side note, if you visit the Chronicles of Poop Jack Skellington on Villains Wiki, it lists his hobbies as scheming, abusing the inhabitants of Halloween Town, and doing cocaine. That is certainly a thing. Yes, this is YouTube poop stuff. Great. Okay, we just did that. We just made it through 26 different YouTube poops. Some of them were so bad they bored me to tears. And others, well, they might as well be in movie theaters. Okay, but seriously, if you've made it to the end of this video, I just wanted to say thank you so much. This is the biggest project I've ever taken on this channel, and I think it's an exciting new start for me. I even have some new YouTube poop flavor videos coming soon. So if you like this one, keep your eyes peeled. Except maybe don't literally peel your eyes. I've always kind of wondered wondered where the expression came from. Anyway, yeah, this was my silly, goofy ranking video list. See ya later!